Okay. Ayan. Okay, let us continue with the introduction for clinical pharmacokinetics. Last time, we had our overview with the different principles of pharmacokinetics, as well as a little introduction on pharmacodynamics. So this morning, let us continue with the ADME process, specifically on the distribution part. Okay, so again, we are very familiar with this. We are very knowledgeable of this one, no? Everything starts with absorption, is especially if the drug is not given directly to the blood circulation, like through the intravenous route. Okay, so sorry. Ibalik natin. Now, in the systemic circulation, drugs must be free before it will be distributed to the tissues or the site of action. Okay? Now, what will affect the drug distribution? If the drug is not free, pwede siyang maging bound, no, sa ating proteins. Okay? Wait lang. Okay, sorry for the interruption again. Um, Once the drug is already in the bloodstream, syempre there are proteins and pwedeng mag-bind doon ang drugs. Okay? So mahirap ang hindi free, unfree drugs or bound drugs na umabot doon sa tissues or ma-distribute sa mga tissues or sa site of action. Okay? Now, yung free drug din mismo ang madaling i-metabolize. Okay? So, free drug, mag-metabolize, and then, syempre, there is the formation of metabolites, and then there will be excretion. So, this is just an illustration here na in the plasma, there is the presence of free drugs as well as bound drugs. Okay? Now, if we want to compute that one, FU means fraction of unbound, or that means the free drug. This is equal to the free drug concentration. So, they are going to look into the plasma kasi usually it's the plasma na chine-check talaga. So, na-check nila aling portion or anong portion doon yung free drug. Okay, so we have the free drug concentration, and then let's divide it to the total concentration of the drug. So in this case, bibilangin na lang siya kasi this is just an illustration. We have here at least 9% ng, or sorry, 90, excuse me, free drug concentration here, actually, hindi pala 19, no? That's 1% only ang free drug, and then yung total drug concentration natin is, for example, like the 100%. So, kaya pag i-divide natin siya, we will get 0.1. 0.1, ito yung fraction of unbound. Okay, so 1, for example, 1/10 siya, 10 yung concentration ng drug. We have here the 0.1. Sorry, hindi ko pala siya. Okay, again, ulitin ko. We have the free drug concentration. For example, you have there 1% of that is free, and then i-divide natin siya sa total drug concentration. So for example, the total drug concentration is 10. So that's 1 example, 1/10. So that's, we have the 0.1 na free drug na concentration. Okay? So what does it mean? Kapag konti lang yung free drug, yan lang din yung aabot sa target site. So ang iba na nakabind pa sa proteins, mahihirapan pa yon makakross sa ating, example, sa ating cell membrane, and mahihirapan silang umabot doon sa site of action or sa receptor. So until hindi sila magiging free, hindi din natin sila magagamit, okay, for the action of the drug. Okay? So meron talagang mga drug, 'di ba, na mataas ang protein binding na affinity, and meron yan siyang implication sa dosage regimen natin. So kung kailan yung magiging next dose natin, and yung regimen and the interval itself. Okay? So what happens to a drug when taken orally or pwede ding other routes of administration? We have here intravenous, subcutaneous, and intraperitoneal. So sa BioPharm, remember, we have this kind of graph. Dito natin makikita yung AUC, no, or area under the curve. Si area under the curve, ano yan siya, pinaplot yan siya using the plasma concentration versus the time. Okay? So, ano yan siya, ang ating unit is the concentration, syempre, over time, no? So, like milligrams per ml per time na, example, hours or seconds. Okay? So, ano makikita natin sa AUC? If this is taken orally, syempre, this one will start at 0. And then, as you can see, tataas yung concentration ng drug sa plasma over time. So, habang tumataas yan siya, we can see there the absorption phase until ma-reach niya ang Cmax. So, si Cmax is the maximum na concentration. Okay, this is the maximum concentration, and we will achieve that one sa Tmax. It's the time where we achieve the maximum concentration of the drug in the plasma. So after the Cmax, elimination phase will follow. Okay, so kaya bababa na yung amount of the drug in the plasma. Okay, so lahat yan ng nasa under the curve, again, we call that the AUC. Okay? So, yung exact shape of the plasma concentration profile depends on the following. Depende sa rate of absorption. Kasi, di ba, pag hindi yan siya IV, syempre, titingnan pa natin yung absorption phase niya. So, nakadepende sa absorption phase yung exact shape ng ating area under the curve or yung plasma concentration profile natin. And at the same time, the rate of elimination. Okay, kasi meron ding mga drugs na mabilis ding ma-eliminate affecting the curve. And then, syempre, the route of administration. Okay, so just like the illustration on the right side, we have here the plasma concentration of cocaine, and then we are given here various routes of administration. So, for example, the intravenous, tataas agad yung concentration ng drug sa plasma because, again, we don't need here an absorption phase because diretso naman na. Habang yung iba, we have here the smoked cocaine, yung naka-green. I hope that is clear sa screen, no? And then yung oral, we have here the blue one. And then we have the red one, the intranasal. So as you can see, we have the same drug, but their plasma level time curve shapes are different. Okay, so nakadepende yan kung ano yung madaling ma-absorb. For example, hindi natin titingnan muna yung intravenous, no? Kasi automatic na yon. Example sa smoked, ayan, and even the intranasal, mabilis yung kanilang absorption. But their difference, mas mabilis ma-eliminate yung intranasal na route of administration. So yan yung mga factors affecting the plasma level time curve natin, yung shape niya mismo. So merong early peak due to a fast or almost instantaneous na absorption just like the IV. Kaya nakikita niyo mabilis sa time pa lang, hindi na umabot, for example, dito 60 minutes, hindi umabot ng 60 minutes, na-achieve na natin yung peak, yung ating Cmax. Okay, mabilis yung ating Tmax, na-achieve natin kaagad yung Cmax. While the others, it will really take time, again, because we have here rate of absorption to consider. And then meron din tayong routes of administration na delayed ang peaks. So we have here delayed peaks due to comparatively slower rates of absorption. So this is true for extravascular routes of administration. Okay? But anyway, yung area under the curve na yan, that is the time where the drug is still inside the body and may take its action. Okay? So, sa plasma level time curve, paano natin masiguro yung accuracy ng plasma level time curve natin? It depends on the number and scheduling of time points, particularly in the terminal phase. Anong ginagawa nila? They get blood samples and then they check, syempre, the concentration in the blood. Okay? So, anong ginagawa? They extract blood. Actually, yung ideal na ginagawa nila, 15 ka blood samples na pag-extract. Okay? So, ito yung mga, number of points. For them, according to the book, this is enough to give sufficient details sa ating AUC or sa ating plasma level time curve. So, bali 15 points yan siya lahat. So, ano yung 15 points na yan? They will extract blood and check the plasma concentration. Meron dyan, first 5 points before the Tmax. Okay? So, kasali yung Tmax pero first 5 points before the Tmax, extract ng blood and then check ng plasma concentration. And then, another 5 points between the Tmax and then the half-life of the drug. Again, the half-life is also included, and then the Tmax. And then the last 5 points between the half-life and the, yung 5 times na half-life. Okay? So, bali yan, 15 yan lahat. That is the number of times they extract blood and then they check the plasma concentration of the drug. So, in case na there is blood sampling restriction, instead of 5 time points, yung mga pharmacokineticists, they use 4 points, okay? And then it can be selected within each of above 3 phases. So, 3 phases pa rin, pero it will reduce to 4 instead of 5 time points, okay, in the extraction of the blood. Okay? You may ask question if you want to clarify something, huh? Or let me know if I'm not audible or I'm not clear. Excuse me. Yes, sir. May nagtaas po ba ng kamay? Ay, hindi ba nag-change ang...
Yes, ma'am. Ako po yun, ma'am, yung nag-raise po. Ma'am, yung slides po, it seems hindi po siya nag-work. Opo, hindi po siya nag-move, ma'am.
That is the reason why na hindi ko siya pinapalaki kasi from time to time, dapat i-check ko siya. I have a problem with the Google Meet. Bakit hindi siya nag-move? Let me check, ha? Let me see what can I do with this one. Bakit ayun yung mag- Why? Wait, let's stop sharing first. Bakit hindi siya nag-move? Ulitin ko siya share. Why? Okay. Saan ba yung slide kanina dito? Or this one? Ulit. Ano ba problema nito? Stage kanina. Oh. So this one was not presented a while ago. But anyway, this is our area under the curve. In the area under the curve, we get to see the Cmax, the Tmax, and then syempre pag tataas yan, that is where we see the absorption phase, especially for the extravascular routes. And then after we achieve the Cmax, then elimination phase follows. Okay? I hope it will move na. The struggle is real. Let us check. Okay? So ito yung present ko kanina, the different plasma level time curve shapes for the different routes of the administration. Ulitin ko na lang siya. The shape is dependent on, number one, the relative rates of absorption. Okay? Because there are routes na, syempre, mabilis or instantaneous yung absorption niya, so we will achieve an early peak. And then meron din namang delayed peak because again, we have slower rates of absorption, especially for extravascular route. So we can see there, the black one is the intravenous na plasma level time curve. We have here an early or yung mabilis na pag-achieve sa peak because of the instantaneous absorption, while the other three, the smoke, the oral, and the intranasal cocaine, we will still wait for it to be absorbed. The drug will be absorbed first before we get to see the peak, okay, for our plasma level time curve. And then yung next slide niyan, ito na yun. Yung sa accuracy, the accuracy of the plasma level time curve is dependent on the number and scheduling of time points where the pharmacokineticist draw blood and then check the plasma concentration. So it is suggested na we have 15 number of points. We have here divided into 3. The first 5 points is drawn before we achieve the Tmax. And then the second 5 is between the Tmax and the half-life. And then the last phase here for the withdrawal of blood and for the checking of the plasma concentration is between the T1 half or the half-life and 5 times the half-life. Okay, again, in the case of restrictions of blood sampling, 4 points ang ginagamit instead of 5. So, balik na naman ako here. I'm checking from time to time if nag-move na ba talaga siya. Now, let's talk about single versus multiple dosing. So, syempre, for single dosing, after a single dose administration, we first assume that there is no drug in the body yet before the drug is being given, and that the drug is being absorbed in the body. And then after reaching the maximum concentration, the drug is eliminated, okay, from the body. So in the right, we have here the graph, a sample plasma concentration time profile for a single dose administration. Sa baba, we have here the multiple dosing. So after the first dose, we give second and subsequent na doses before the drug is being eliminated in the body. So as you can see, we have a lot of peaks compared to the single one. We have a lot of peaks here that is representative ng doses na binibigay sa patient. Okay? So, the purpose of that is syempre to maintain a certain level, plasma level of the drug for a longer period of time inside the body. Okay? So, most of the drugs are given in multiple dosing. And then, meron tayong finite na time intervals. Again, to really achieve a certain or desired na plasma level of drugs for a long period of time. So medyo matagal natin ma-reach yung ating plasma concentration na maximum, yung peak natin, mas matagal natin ma-achieve. Meron kasi tayong desired or target na plasma concentration for this one. So that is, syempre, the difference of the single and the multiple dosing. So let's talk about the pharmacokinetic parameters. So what do we see again in the plasma level time curve? We get to see the Cmax. Ulitin ko lang, this is just a review because I believe we are very familiar with this. So we have here the Cmax or the peak. That is where we get to see the maximum concentration of the drug in the body after administration. Okay, and then we also get to see the Tmax here. That is the time required for us to achieve the maximum concentration in the plasma. And then we also have the T1 half or our half-life. Yun na yung magsa-start na ng elimination ng drug sa body. However, syempre since T1 half, 50% remains inside and then 50% yung ma-eliminate. Okay? And then we have here the C-mean or the minimum or the trough concentration. Ito yung ma-achieve natin when the drug is really being eliminated from the body. Okay? So, we have here again elimination half-life, no? So it is the time wherein the drug falls, the other half is being eliminated. And how do we compute this? Let's have a review on how do we compute our half-life. T1 half is equal to 0.693 divided by the K. The K is our elimination rate constant. Okay? In some cases, we don't see the K. Instead, it is the clearance and the volume of distribution. We can also use that, okay? Because the half-life actually depends on that, the volume of distribution as well as the clearance. So what are we going to do? We'll just have this one, 0.693 pa rin, but i-multiply natin siya sa clearance divided by the volume of baliktad. 0.693 times volume of distribution divided by the clearance. Okay? Now, anong gamit ng ating half-life? Syempre, we get to see here gaano karaming time will it take na ma-eliminate yung drug natin. Or pwede din namang using the half-life, ma-check natin when will we reach or achieve the steady state or the steady state concentration. Because of that, we will use this one to design the dosing interval. Okay? So ito yon, half-life determines time to eliminate the drug from the body. So as you can see, pababa na yung ating drug. And kailan natin siya totally ma-eliminate? It's 7 half-lives. Okay? 99% of the drug will be eliminated after 7 half-lives. Okay? So longer the half-life, the longer the time for elimination. But syempre, there are other things that will influence elimination of the drug, just like when the patient has renal failure. So, mahina ang functioning ng kidneys, and that will also prolong the elimination or the half-life of the drug. Let me see kung nagmo-move pa ba siya. Yeah, it's still moving. Aside from that, aside from looking into the time where the drug is eliminated in the body. Using the half-life, we can also predict when can we achieve the steady state concentration. So, syempre, when you say steady state, we have here the equal na yung rate of input and the rate of output. Okay, so we will see that one in our curve, in our plasma level time curve. Ito yung ating plot 2. Yung concentration of the drug in the plasma, constant yung magiging value niya. So rate of change in the amount of drug in the body is 0, kaya siya magpa-plot 2. Okay, so for example, in this case, after the absorption, we have here the plot 2. We have here the plot 2. Kailan natin yan siya na-achieve? It is 5 half-lives first before ma-achieve ang CSS. Okay? So, we have here the first, the second, the third, the fourth, and then we have here the 5th half-lives. So, sa 5th half-life, magpa-plateau na siya, meaning na na-achieve na natin yung steady state concentration. So, equal na yung amount na nai-input sa body. So, yung pumapasok sa body, and then ang amount na nai-eliminate. Okay? Usually, this one is the case for our drug. Okay? Now, pasok tayo sa ating maraming computation sa pharmacokinetics. Ano to, yung mga simple pa lang na mga pharmacokinetic parameters. So, just like yung sa half-life kanina, half-life is equal to 0.693 over K. Or if hindi K yung given, volume of distribution and clearance, yung 0.693, multiply natin sa volume of distribution divided by the clearance. Now, let's see yung sa clearance natin. Ito yung drug clearance means ito yung amount of blood or plasma na na-clear of the drug per unit time. Okay? So, after the process of metabolism and excretion. So, basically, that's the elimination process. So, again, when you say drug clearance, it's the volume, it's the amount of blood or the plasma na na-clear na, nawawala na yung drug doon. Okay? Per unit time. So, usually, we have here ang ating unit ml, the volume, and then over time. So, it might be seconds or minutes, and then pwede din namang liters, liter per hour. Okay? So, yung clearance natin is related sa concentration ng ating drug present in the blood after administration. That is why we have here clearance is equal to the elimination rate of the drug. Pwede siyang milligram per hour or grams per hour, but usually that's milligram per hour. And then let's divide it sa concentration. Okay, so plasma drug concentration in milligrams per liter. Kaya when we divide that one, we'll get the liter per hour na unit. Okay? So, pwede siya, elimination rate, i-divide natin sa concentration. But in some cases na hindi natin makita yung ating concentration, clearance can be computed using this equation. Actually, kabaliktaran lang ng yung sa T1 half kanina. So, clearance is equal to the volume of distribution times the elimination rate constant. And then, if elimination rate constant yung hinahanap natin, let's just derive the formula. So, elimination rate constant is the rate of yung pag-eliminate drug loss from the body. So, again, clearance divided by the volume of distribution. So that is for the clearance. Wait lang, nag-move pa ba siya? Okay. Wala siya nag-move. Ay, check. Oh, yeah, nag-move pa pala siya. Okay. Aside from the clearance, we have another pharmacokinetic parameter. We have here the volume of distribution. So this is not a physiological parameter. It's just actually hypothetical. But this represents the volume of the drug na napunta sa body fluid or na-distribute into different body fluids in the body. So, ano itong mga body fluids na ito? We treat this as compartment. So, for example, merong blood na, syempre, nasa plasma. May blood din na madidistribute in the interstitial fluid and sa intracellular fluid. So, as you can see, we have here, for example, kasi the total body fluid, hypothetically, is 42 liters. So, we have here sa plasma, for example, kung 4 liters yung volume of distribution, it means we have here sa plasma yun siya. And then interstitial fluid, we have here at least 10 liters, and then intracellular fluid, 28 liters. So we will get variations sa volume of distribution ranging from 0.2 to 8,000 liter depending sa drug characteristic and sa size ng patient. But how do we compute our volume of distribution? It's the amount of drug in the body, which means we are talking about the dose of the drug divided by the plasma concentration. So dose divided by the concentration, that is how we compute the volume of distribution. So, ano yung kanyang magiging implication? You have the drug here. So we have here the dose, and then i-inject siya, no, or i-administer siya sa patient. And then makikita natin here sa tissues, ito yung kanyang plasma concentration. And then ito yung kanyang volume of distribution. So pag mababa yung volume of distribution, it means there is decreased tissue binding. And then the drug remains in the body. Wait lang, the drug remains in the body. So there is again decreased tissue binding. So magre-remain yan siya sa blood, or may high plasma protein binding. Okay? So ang drug, again, pag low ang volume of distribution, nasa blood siya, and then most probably nag-bind siya sa proteins. Hindi siya nada-distribute sa tissues, hindi siya nakabind doon sa tissues. However, kung the other way around, you have here the drug, you have here the plasma concentration, and as you can see, mas malaki yung volume of distribution. It means na the drug has penetrated to the tissues extensively. Okay? So, baliktad din siya. Mababa yung kanyang protein binding sa blood or plasma protein binding, pero increased naman yung kanyang tissue binding. So, that is the interpretation sa pag-compute, yung na-compute na volume of distribution. Again, pag mababa, nasa blood. Pag mataas, most probably napunta na sa tissues yung ating drug. So, this is an example. Another example, conceptual illustration lang, and as well as the computation of the volume of distribution. So, we have here scenario 1 and scenario 2. We have here the dose, parehas silang 100 milligrams. But after administration, we checked here the plasma concentration of the drug. Sa scenario 1, the concentration ng drug sa plasma is 100 milligrams per liter. So if we are going to compute for the volume of distribution, di ba, i-divide lang natin dose divided by the concentration. So 100 milligram divided by 100 milligram per liter, that's the concentration. Our volume of distribution here is 1 liter. Meanwhile, on the other side, we have here the scenario 2, we have the same concentration, but after checking the plasma concentration, we have here the 1 milligram per liter na concentration. So the same equation, 100 milligrams, that's the dose, divided by the concentration, that's 1 milligram per liter. Our volume of distribution here is 100 liters. So we have here, we see the difference. Marami yung concentration dito sa plasma. The drug is still in the blood. Most likely, this is due to high protein binding, again, in the plasma. And then dito sa kabila, sa scenario 2, kung titingnan natin ang concentration, that's just 1 milligram per liter, konti na lang yung drug in the blood. Most probably, the drug has already penetrated into the tissue. So, meaning na distribute na siya. The drug is no longer in the blood or in the plasma, may konting naiwan. So, nasa tissues na siya, and syempre, mataas ang probability na umabot na siya sa target site. Okay? I hope naintindihan yun. Anyway, this one is just a review. Okay, so we have here another example sa computation. Okay. If, example na ito, mag-practice tayo later. I'll be giving you problems na isa-solve ninyo. I-post ko lang later after the discussion. So, hindi natin ubusin talaga yung time until 11 o'clock. Pero, hindi ko naman siya ipapasa agad-agad. Depending sa inyong availability. I believe we are all working. So, ipasa niyo lang siya after niyo siyang masagutan. I don't have problem with that. Okay, so pharmacokinetic parameters. Again, we have here, if 3 grams of a drug are added and distributed throughout a tank, and the resulting concentration is 0.15 grams per liter, calculate the volume of the tank. So, we are talking about volume of distribution here. We have here the dose, the 3 grams, and then after the administration or after putting the drug sa tank, in this case, we have the concentration 0.15 grams per liter. So the same na way of computing. We have volume of distribution is equal to the dose over the plasma concentration. So again, the dose here is 3 grams, and then i-divide natin siya sa concentration, which is 0.15. So 3 grams divided by 0.15, our volume of distribution is this one, 20 liters. You can try that one in your own calculator. So the answer here is letter B, 20 liters. So kung balikan natin dito sa illustration, nasaan na yung ating drug? Most probably 20 liters nasa intracellular fluid na siya. So the drug in this case has already penetrated the tissues. Okay? So almost extensively kasi nasa 20 liters na siya. That's how you interpret the volume of distribution. Okay? Now in some cases, the volume of distribution is being multiplied to the body weight of the patient. Okay, so the volume of distribution is always represented in liters. So minsan kasi ang nakalagay sa mga references natin, meron siyang kilogram, like 0.25 liters per kilogram. So i-multiply lang natin siya sa weight ng ating patient. So example, we have here gentamicin, we have the 0.25 liters per kilogram. And then, i-multiply natin siya. Example, ang ating patient is 60 kilograms. So, we have here the true volume of distribution. For gentamicin, we have here the 15 liters. So, ganun din ang ginawa. For digoxin, we have 420 liters. Okay, multiplied by the same patient na weight. Okay? This is for 20-year-old female. Ito naman sa baba, 65-year-old male, and then ang weight niya is 80 kilograms. So our expected na volume of distribution for our gentamicin is 20 liters. Kasi nga i-multiply natin siya sa weight ng ating patient. And then meron din tayo here digoxin. So our expected volume of distribution is 560 liters. Again, when multiplied sa weight ng ating patient. Okay? And again, to summarize kasi gamitin natin ito sa pag-practice natin sa computation ng clearance ng ating rate elimination constant before tayo mag-move on sa mga mas mahirap na concept sa biofarm. Mag-practice muna tayo. I mean, balikan natin ito. These are very basic, pero since we are very busy with our own work, minsan nakakalimutan na natin siya. So we have KE, volume of distribution, and half-life. Again, we have here, if we want to compute the clearance, we'll be going to use the formula volume of distribution times the rate elimination constant. And then, i-ano na lang natin, i-derive natin ang formula. Just like when we want to compute for the KE, this is the KE, the rate elimination constant. That will be the clearance divided by the volume of distribution. For the clearance, if the half-life is given, we may use this formula. The 0.693, multiply natin sa volume of distribution and then divide it sa half-life. Okay? Ito, dito sa kabila, on the right side, this is just the derivation of this formula. So 0.693 times volume divided by the clearance if we are going to compute for the half-life. And then ito silang dalawa magkaparehas lang. The other one is just derived. If we want to compute for the elimination rate constant, 0.693 divided by the half-life, or the half-life is asked in the problem, then 0.693 divided by K. So please take note, if there is a decrease in clearance because of renal or hepatic failure, it will increase the half-life of the drug administered. Okay, so that is the last slide. Now, I have already posted this material for your reference. I hope you can see it. And then, ipopost ko yung activities for the remaining time. But if you are in your work area, pwede nyo naman siyang ipasa any time of the day or even tomorrow, okay lang if hindi makaya. So, wait lang ha. Unahin ko lang post itong aking question. Tama ba? Open ko muna siya. Baka mali ko tayo. Ayun yung mga stop the recording.